What's good with the YouTube? A Convicts Perspective is your boy, Big Flacco. Smashing, dashing, sliding on through, as always, with a little bit of energy, man. Let's get to it live and direct. We got an interesting topic. We got some exclusive news, man. On Saturday night, at two separate prison facilities, you had two murders that occurred in the cell by their cellies, man. We got a very brief article. One of these individuals we know a little bit of history about, man. We're gonna, like as always, we're gonna read this real brief article and give you guys a convict's perspective, man. Stuff's going down in the prison system right now, man.
No doubt, man. This is from the Sacramento Bee. The title of it is Two California Prisoners Suspected of Killing Cellmates. FOLSOM, California. Two men serving life sentences in Northern California prisons are suspected of killing their cellmates over the weekend, authorities said on Monday. DeAndre A. Lewis, 37, was found unresponsive in his cell on Saturday morning at California State Prison, Sacramento, in Folsom. He was pronounced dead a short time later, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation said in a statement. His cellmate, Shamar L. Thornton, 36, is considered a suspect in his death, the department said. Details of the death weren't immediately released. Lewis was sent to prison from Contra Costa County in 2018 and was serving life without the possibility of parole for that crime with the R that we don't want to say, four-letter word starts with the R, torture and other crimes, authorities said. He was sentenced to additional decades for pimping, human trafficking with the use of a gun, false imprisonment with violence, and other crimes. Thornton was admitted to prison from San Bernardino County in 2009 and was serving life in prison without chance of parole for first-degree murder. Another inmate, Benji S. Wade, 40, died at around 5 p.m. Saturday after he was found in his cell at High Desert State Prison in Susanville, authorities said. Wade was admitted to prison last August from Colusa County to serve 13 years for robbery with the use of a firearm. John C. Connell, his cellmate, is suspected in his death, authorities said. Connell, 55, was sentenced to prison in the late 1980s from Sacramento County for armed robbery and battery with serious injury under California's three strikes law. Connell is already serving a life sentence with the possibility of parole for escaping at Sutter County Jail, authorities said. Now, two really brief articles right there.
First and foremost, let's talk about the last case first, because we know a little bit about this, the first case. The three-strike law didn't come into effect till the 90s. So that's a misprint on the article, man. And just based upon those two, the counties where these people were at, I'm going to take it, they were probably the woodpile. You know what I'm saying? Colusa, out there in Colusa, those areas like that, there's not a lot of
the first two were definitely African-American. The second two were definitely white boys.
Yeah. So, you know, stuff happens in prison. We talked about this numerous times. We never know the who, what, where, when, why someone gets hit, man. But just to have two separate murders during the same time era, it kind of gets interesting, man. This just happened just this Saturday. Now let's get back to the first one, man. The first.
Hey, real quick, hey Flacco, I found there's another little story about here before we break down the first one. But listen to this. A Bay Point man who was known as the most prolific and brutal human traffickers in Contra Costa County history was found dead in his Sacramento prison cell. DeAndre Lewis was found dead in his cell, New Folsom. This is stuff we already know, but this is something about this dude. Me and Flacco both know who he is.
Yeah. Lewis
was serving a life sentence for human trafficking, torture, and numerous other felonies related to a lengthy sex trafficking case that involved elder fraud, a scalping he ordered over a jail phone, and the death of a woman who prosecutors contend was forced to take her own self out of the game. If you catch my drift, word we can't really say. You guys catch the drift. He contended he didn't receive a fair trial and admitted to being a pimp, but it adamantly denied forcing any of his women to do any of that stuff, man. But as Flacco was saying, man, this dude's a piece of work, man. On the phone, and the jury heard him recordings of him ordering his top prostitute, or they call him a bottom batch. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To scalp a woman over an unpaid debt, saying he wanted to hear screaming and instructing her to confirm when it was done. During the trial, it was revealed he received grants to attend college, and he wrote essays about the economics of pimping and stuff. man, there was so many allegations of underage stuff and all kinds of shootings, and it was just, hey, Flacco, tell him
This
about
dude,
what you
this
know.
dude, this dude, if you look him up online, he actually gave interviews to the local news media. They went in and actually talked to him. He tried to sit there and create that I'm not a monster. They knew very well what they were doing. I was just providing them with the security. I've heard of this dude out there in the streets, man. And I had issues out there with him a couple of times back in the days when I was out there in Antioch and Pittsburgh, man. So I know exactly what that dude's about, man. It's what you would call a guerrilla pimp. That was his get down. That was his stilo. You know what I'm saying? We actually had some run-ins. I'm not going to go into what happened out there in the streets, but you know what I'm saying? Luckily, we both here today. You know what I'm saying? Well, at least me, I'm here today. You know what I mean? I could be in a prison cell right now. You got that close. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, he's just, you know what I mean? No accountability, no responsibility. And, you know, this is a thing that we talk about with these heinous crimes or these hideous crimes, right? It's hard to have any type of remorse for an individual that commits these type of crimes, period, man. This isn't just a one-time thing to where you could sit there and maybe scrutinize it. Well, maybe there's more to the story or not. These are multiple victims of something that he self-admitted that he was involved in. This dude was not a good dude. This dude preyed upon women. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them were of the age limit. He utilized, you know, his position out there, was abusive, controlling. He just wasn't a good person at all, man. So it's kind of hard to have remorse when an individual like this, when something like this happens and you know the track record, you can't sit there and question like, oh, well, you know what? You know, maybe he was railroaded in trial. Now, this dude was not railroaded. He even gave interviews, like I said, man, talking about that he's not a monster. The dude was a straight monster, man. And so I would have to say that maybe this had something to do with the reason why. I don't know if this was on one of the softer FOLSOM sides. I don't know. I don't know the R stature there at this time. But, you know, even within these particular groups on the active side, especially on a level 4 180, you know, you can sit there saying not all groups check paperwork and all this, man, but there's a certain extent, man, that certain behavior, even if it's tolerated within your group, it'll be the first thing to get your ass whacked when the time comes if you get inappropriate in your actions there. There's certain codes of conducts and rules, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that's why, but with the way that this dude's mindset was, I could see how easy it would be for a cellie to get in conflict with him and be about that business and take that at you.
Yeah, me and that dude, we're from the exact same area, man. They call it Bay Point, man, but it'll always be West Pittsburgh. You know, there was a lot of stories about, you hear in songs and on movies, they'll reach back and smack a girl when they're out there pimping and stuff like that. This was the type of dude who used hot curling irons for ironing your clothes, brandings, you know, electricity. You know what I mean? It was just that whole other level of torture. And there was a lot of people that wanted to do something to this dude over the years. You know, I know a few of them personally. Is the world a better place? Man, that's not really for me to judge. But you know my opinion, you can see it in my face. You know,
Yeah.
straight up. I don't like to be like that, but there's certain situations where it's more like bye. This is one of them, man.
I mean, what's the next step in the Department of Corrections right now? I mean, like, think about it. You know, there's been more in-cell murders. And what they used to do back in the days, you remember this up in Pelican Bay, they started to single cell a lot of people. They started having you sign chronos. I'm pretty sure they're still having you sign chronos when you accept a cellie. But man, these issues continue to happen, man. And I don't know how you solve it. I think people are people. You're not in prison for being good people. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to whatever political beliefs you align with, a lot of us came out the streets as gang members, drug dealers, hustlers, you know what I mean? And so therefore we forget that there's also people in the criminal spectrum of things that are in there for certain crimes that are just not respected, or there's people who are straight sociopaths or psychopaths. You never know what you're stepping into when you hit a cell. You know what I mean? This happens all the time, man. All it takes is one conflict in a cell and you're going for broke. You know, so who's to say that these weren't some conflicts? I mean, it's kind of hard, man. If I'm in a cell too, this is what I said over and over again, man. And it goes there, I'm not stopping until one of us is done or the cops come and break that shit up and we're separated. I am not stopping because my security comes first and foremost. And so it's kind of hard being a convict, right? You know, there's a code being a convict. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to talk to police. If you have an issue, you deal with it in the cell, you deal with it on the yard, whatever it may be. So it's hard when these conflicts happen and you cross that threshold to where it's going to get violent. Fuck, you better go for fucking broke in that cell, man. Because there ain't no fucking banging on the door. You know what I'm saying? Hey, come get me. We're fighting. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen, man. As grown men, you're going to go at it, and someone's not going to come out of it unless they start to hear the noise. And you know what happens when there's a cell fight? You know what I mean? Anywhere, everybody starts making noise. They turn their TVs up, and everybody's ears are like this. You know what I mean? That's just the way of the life, man. That's why you have so many cell murders happening nowadays, man.
Yeah.
You know, but it also just goes to show, man, like, you know, I don't know if these happen on S and Y sides or not, man. But if they're on active sides, you would think for these to transpire, you know what I mean, that like there would have to be some type of political sanction. You know what I'm saying? I know there's been a lot of Northerners that have been killed up in their cell. They get someone moved up in there. Someone's trying to elevate their status. And that's the first way to, you know what I mean, be positioned to take that next step. You know what I mean? So it's just going to be interesting, man, how this is all going to create it. You know what I mean? You know, I really, you know, when I seen this article, I'm like, man, two murders on the same day at two separate prisons by cellies. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're already doing life anyways. So if you're going to get into conflict, they're not really trying to give people the death penalty no more. You know what I mean? You might as well go for broke. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're about that action. You know what I mean? That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, on this second one, man, we're tripping on the 3 strikes law. I think they just worded it kind of funny because it says Connell 55 was sentenced to prison in the late 80s from Sacramento for armed robbery with battery with serious injury, period. Under California's 3 strikes law, comma, Connell already is serving a life sentence with the possibility of parole for escaping a Sutter County jail. So he might have had, you know, he might have been looking at a lot of time or whatever for the Sacramento armed robbery and whatever. And then when he went ahead and escaped, they just struck his ass out. So that might be, they might have just worded that differently. You know what I mean?
And he was 55, right?
55 years old.
And how old was the victim?
Oh man, he was 40.
Wow. I mean, to be, I mean, they say when you get older, your violent tendencies start to, like, you know what I mean? You start to suppress them a little bit. You know what I mean? But
shit, man, you slip a little piece of fucking braided up sheet, bro, and a 100-pound dude can take out a 270-pound dude once you get that sheet locked in there. It's over.
Nothing you could do. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate. I don't see nothing weird on the second one from High Desert about any kind of weird charges or anything, man. That could be simply a case of some broken politics or just people not getting along, man. Because their charges are normal, acceptable charges: robbery with the gun and, you know, robbery and battery.
Yeah.
You know, so that could be anything, man. And by their names and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and assume they're white, and by their counties of commitment and stuff. You know what?
You know what? Them white boys are known for moving on people in their cell. You know what I mean? They're known for doing that, bro. Like, yeah. I remember there was a home, I'm not going to mention his name, but I was in Corporate Shoe. I'm just going to say his first name. I'm not going to say where he's from, Casper. I remember he tried to kill his fucking cellie, man. They're known for doing that, bro. And they'll have 8-10 years, right? And they'll still do it. I'm like, fuck, at least take it to the yard where you have a chance. But now if you think about it, man, like, you know, you never know what cleanup one owes. And there's some people out there that are willing to go the extra mile to clear up whatever they've done politically. You know what I'm saying?
You could speculate on a wide variety of stuff, man. Anything from drugs to, hey, this guy might have disrespected a Northerner and he might have done it before, and that might have been his last chance. And hey, he's got to go, or it's going to kick off some things with them guys. It could be anything, bro. You know what I'm saying? With either one of these things, man, because like even in the first one, even though that dude's a piece of shit, historically, you know, that group doesn't really judge so much about what you did on the streets. You know what I mean? And no offense to them, that's just the way they politic, man. I'm not, nobody's politics are any different than anybody else's. But I'd really, really highly doubt that just because of the lifestyle he was involved in out there in Pittsburgh and in the East Bay, that had anything to do with what happened with him, man, you know. But hey, this is the lesson for today, man. Things can happen in prison to anyone at any time. You know, it doesn't take much. All it takes is a bad day. All it takes is somebody to wake up realizing they're never going home. Man, you might be going home soon and they just don't like you anyway because you snore or you fart in your sleep or something. That could be all it takes to trigger off anything. And that's, bro, I'm not trying to be funny, but that's the real of it.
You know what this is going to create, right? This is going to create legislation, right? Or Department of Operations manuals, right? How they, the DOM, how they do changes.
Yeah.
To enforce more single cells in level 4 facilities. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, you don't have bed space. And what ends up happening? You're going to need some more prisons, man. They've been playing that fucking game for a long minute, man, because most of these killings are happening on level 4 facilities in the cell. So some situations are being created where they're putting the wrong people in the cell, or just where they know the compatibility isn't there and they're being enforced, man. But this is something that we keep on hearing, man. So I think the next step that's going to happen is the same thing that they did in the Bay for a minute. You remember that they had people on single cell status for a minute. You know what I mean? Particular groups, even in corporate for a minute. You know what I mean? I went through there. I couldn't have a cell because I was too violent. They start to do that to fill these prisons up, to then they get more funding to establish more prisons. You know what I mean? It's all about monopolizing, man.
And that's one thing I ain't gonna lie. In San Quentin and East Block, you know what I'm saying, being in the hole, it was nice. We didn't have no celly.
Oh yeah, it's better not having.
I enjoyed it, bro, because you don't. Them cells are so small, bro. You know what I mean? Where if you had a celly, bro, it's just, it adds more anxiety, bro. You know, your celly might want to look out the bars right now. You might want to look out the bars. You know what I mean? It's just, it's easier. It's all how you look at it, bro. I don't know if sometimes I'd rather have a celly. Like if I got a cool celly, like my boy Flacco from Santa Rosa, or even Wino or Porky, I could rock with it, man. But I've had cellies, man, where every time I look at them, I just like, man, I'd like to slap this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just real talk. Would I do it necessarily? Nah, but man, if I had 40 years,
yeah,
you know, what'd you say? What? It could change, bro. It could change real quick.
Yeah, it happens. There's arguments in the cell, bro. I've had a few.
Yeah,
you know
bro.
You know what I'm saying? If you think just because it's a homeboy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it's always because you come in like, I know for me, bro, I used to be kind of strict up in the cell a little bit, man. Like I used to be like, you know what, the TV's off all day. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be studying. I got things I need to do. I need to write these reports. I'm going to do my studying, you know what I mean? And then, okay, maybe after 2 o'clock, after showers for the day, we'll put the TV on for the rest of the day if you want. You know what I mean? But we're going to, in the morning, we're going to do our bust down. We're going to, you know what I'm saying? Maybe watch the news for a half hour.
What a like Fidel Castro.
Man, it is. Just, hey, bro, that's the program I was known, bro. I mean, you know what I mean? I was studying everything from the stock market, bro, to fucking philosophy, to fucking learning Nawa. You know what I mean? All this, and then plus I had my own responsibilities I had to do, right? The position I held. And then on top of that, bro, I was Xeroxing all these fucking complaints, bro. You know what I'm saying? To take to the streets. I mean, like fucking literally shit that I'm not supposed to read. You know what I mean? But I'm having to fucking Xerox all this shit, man. So there's responsibility. So man, if you think you're gonna sit back on the cell like this and shit, maybe bust down for an hour, maybe write your half hour essay, nah, you're gonna do some fucking studying up in here. You're gonna fucking stimulate that mind. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna tolerate no laziness, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I guess pushing the hard line, you're trying to bring out the best of them, but then you also want to have some type of expectations, man. A little bit of discipline, conditioning is key. You know what I'm saying? You get conditioned to where you do something on a daily basis. It breeds good characteristics. It breeds, you know what I mean, good values that you can take to the streets. You know what I mean? You're not going to just sit there, oh, you're up and shit, but you're fucking sleepy-eyed and shit. And you're like this and shit. The cell's not cleaned up. You haven't busted down. Your essay's not cleaned down. You're going to get to work. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you need something to work? Okay.
I found the best way that we got along, man, was we put out, you know, in Pelican Bay, man, your channels are kind of limited. So what we do, we throw on BET. Is back when BET was still mostly music, before they had all the shows and shit like MTV and shit does. It was just videos, rap and R&B. We put that on with the little paper cone and handle our business. You know what I mean? Just a little music in the background. We're not really watching it. We already done seen the video 10,000 times anyway. You know what I mean? And just handle our business, bro. We didn't really watch TV. Really, not that we had it turned off. You know what I mean? But we didn't really even trip on it until the evening, because prime time is when all the good shows would come on. You know, during the day, man, we're not trying to watch General Hospital and shit anyway. You know what I'm saying? So we were on the same program. It just wasn't like as serious as to the reasons why. You know what I mean? Because we're right next door to Tibbs in DC. We're expected to perform anyway. So there was
Yeah.
no option but to handle business. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know, bro. Prison, another another day, prison sucks.
It
You're gonna do a
sucks.
whole bunch of shit you don't want to do. I promise you, you're gonna hate it. You're not gonna do nothing you want to do. You're gonna get an hour a day for your time. That's about it.
That's right. I've heard stories, bro, of
The
certain
rest
people,
of the time
man.
is the Casa's time. You're doing
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
with the Casa.
You have 20 minutes to respond to 2 letters. Go ahead. You know what I mean? Once you're done now, get back to business. You know what I mean? Are you done there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you doing up there? Playing chess? Fucking here's your DP. You're supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
Bro, it gets real, bro. You know what I mean? And by stories like this in prison, man, people dying, getting whacked, that's just the life it is, man. You know? Is that what you want to do? You want to go in there, but you don't even know if you're going to come out alive? You know what I mean? You don't know if you're even being smutted up. You don't even know what's going on. I mean, we got people of all walks of life watching our show. You know what I'm saying? This is the reality of what prison is about, man. Motherfuckers, it's about people are with this fucking shit. And there's motherfuckers that are with the bullshit that are also with the shit. You know what I'm saying? There's no guarantee when you go to prison that you're going to come home alive. And that goes from someone who's doing a 60-month sentence to someone who's doing a 30-year sentence. There's no guarantee.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you're gonna have, man, being in a cell with somebody, especially if you got a long time, you got to really find somebody you get along with, and that don't always last. You know, you could be homeboys from the streets, whatever. You know somebody on a different level on the streets. You know, you're stuck in a damn closet, bro, in a large closet. You get on these lockdowns, you get on these things for hours and hours and hours and hours, man. You start to find things about people that you don't like. And once you find them, then you start to dwell on them. Like, man, I can't stand it when he does that shit, bro. And that's what you start thinking, man. I promise you. And it's not you thinking that, your celly's thinking that same shit too.
Yeah.
Can you get along? Yeah, probably you can make it work. Because if not, like, especially in mine and Flacco's situation, if we do something to our celly that's not authorized, it's over for us. You know what I mean? So you got a little bit of incentive to find some common ground to get along on. But I've had cellies, bro, that, man, I actually plotted out exactly their demise in my brain. Well, he always does this. So this is when I'm just going to punch his face all the way through the cell into the next fucking room over. And then I'm just going to jump up and down off this damn desk until it's over.
Bro, there was a situation where the homies got fucking drunk as fuck, bro. You know what I mean? Bro, from Tula, from Tulare. I mean, I always say the word wrong, but I say Tula. You know what I mean? From Tula, and I think he was celled up with Littles from Hanford. I want to say. Man, they got so drunk, bro. They ended up taking off on each other. Man, they lucky they didn't kill each other, bro. I mean, Littles got the bad end of it. He was a little dude, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, anything can happen. Pruno could be involved. Drugs could be involved. I mean, a person could get a bad letter from home. You never know what a person's dealing with, man. And it's fucked up that you're already in a bad fucking place. Anything can happen, man. These are things that you have to take in consideration when you live that life, man. There's no guarantee of tomorrow. And that's with anything in life, but even more so in prison. Anyways, it's your boy Flacco, man. Big Senor Rojo, man. We're out. Hopefully one of us will go live tonight, man. We'll check you out tonight.
Have a good one, you guys. Appreciate y'all.